the art of the breath, as I call it, and meditation. I mean, there'll be people listening now. They hear that, they hear the word breath work, they hear meditation. They might be thinking, there'll be thoughts of perhaps dismissal towards it. Of, oh no, that's just all nonsense. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on why you think it's such a good tool. Two good tools.
Yeah, cool, great question, Bill. So let's kind of look at the science behind it. Fundamentally, when we are stressed, we have what is known as the stress response. Okay, this is the activation of the sympathetic nervous system. This prepares us for the phrases that we will all be familiar with: the fight, flight, freeze, fawn responses. Okay, well, here's the thing, right? When your body is stressed, you cannot think logically, because you're shutting down access to your prefrontal cortex. Because if you consider it, if you are in a natural state of threat, you ain't going to have time to be thinking logically. You need to act immediately. The danger is that the majority of people stay in that state very, very regularly. This is what creates the majority of illnesses. Like I said, Bruce Lipton, 95% of GP-related cases are a byproduct of stress. Okay, so this is what keeps people in these stressed states. Well, when we're in these stress states, blood is always being pumped out to the extremities and not to the vital organs for the repair, the rejuvenation. And so this is where the illnesses start. Because when I'm stressed, I've got increased levels of cortisol, which impacts cognitive function. I've got increased levels of adrenaline, which impacts the immune system. This is what is making people sick. So why is the breath important? Well, consider when we're stressed, how is our breathing? Okay, even on this podcast, between the three of us, I know I haven't done yet, but who of us has taken a proper full inhale through the nose into the belly breath? I haven't, because I've been talking so much. So let's just pause and we'll just do that right now, right?
Yeah.
Okay, it's a beautiful feeling.
I mean, I've got hay fever, so I'm struggling.
That's all good, Tom. That's all good, right? Yeah. I can show you some other practices, my friend. So this is the piece. We spend so much time on autopilot. And as a result, the majority of us are in this chronic state of stress. Well, remember, like I said, you cannot think logically unless you are relaxed. So ultimately, if we want to be creating change, well, then we all need to be learning practices to regulate our nervous system. How do we do that? There are a number of ways. One of my go-tos is the breath. You see, when we change the way we breathe, when we start to breathe slowly, we show the body, the container. This is where all the answers lie. Nothing outside. All the answers lie within. The body is super beautiful and super complex. I now show my body that there is no threat. So what does my body do? It starts to activate the parasympathetic nervous system. This now shuts down these more automatic responses of the limbic system, the emotional mind, and allows access once again to the prefrontal cortex. So now I'm thinking more logically and thinking more rationally. Well, if we all thought a bit more logically and rationally, we'd all also have a better opportunity at dealing with the challenges that we're faced with. Okay? What the breathing does is it stimulates the vagus nerve. This is one of the cranial nerves. It's one of the longest of the cranial nerves. And what's really interesting with the vagus nerve is that whilst the majority of our nerve responses carry information from the head down into the body, the vagus nerve carries more information from the body up to the head. When you're stressed, how does it manifest itself? Tension, okay? Unbeknown to us, but it'll be tension in the jaw, tension in the eyes because we're closing them too tight, tension in the belly, the solar plexus is where loads of people have tension, neck, shoulders, back. Well, when I start to breathe, I start to allow my body to release. I start to notice parts of the body where I'm holding tension and consciously release and relax those. And again, with practice, this isn't just a quick fix. And I think this is the problem for a lot of people. They sit down, they do it for 2 minutes. They've got freaking monkey mind going on and thinking, this is bollocks, this doesn't work. It's like, that's because you've done it for 1 day for 2 minutes, right? Try doing 2 minutes every day for 6 months and then see how you feel. All right. So that's the art of breath work. Breath work is the gateway to presence. That's what Eckhart Tolle said. Breath work is a beautiful way for us to access the parasympathetic nervous system to down-regulate this stress response that we are exposed to on a regular basis. Then with the meditation, that was the second piece, Bill. Meditation is the opportunity for self-inquiry. Okay, meditation is my opportunity to, again, I'm looking in the body. And so what I'm looking for is, and I'll give you an example, right? I'm just allowing myself to recognize what's going on inside. Okay, what's happening inside me right now? And that might be like, I'm aware that I'm having thoughts that X, or I'm aware that there's a load of tension in my belly. Okay, now I love this method from an incredible clinical psychologist, and she's beautiful with the holistic side of her approach. Her name's Tara Brach. And she has what's called the RAIN meditation. And this is just a really nice structure for people to work through. This is often because every session that I do with my clients, we always start with the guided meditation and a body scan. Why? Well, because most of them are jumping in like stressed. So I'm just like, hey, let's just pause. Let's get body and mind in the desired state for today's session. And this RAIN meditation is wonderful because I can recognize what's going on. Well, when you recognize what's going on, you take away its power. Okay? Because I can say, rather than I'm stressed or I'm scared, I can say there is fear inside me, right? I detach myself from this emotional response. There is discomfort inside me. There is sadness inside me. There is shame inside me. I label that emotion. Because I've labeled it, I take away its power. Well, once I've addressed what's going on, I then have the A in RAIN, which is acceptance and acknowledgement. This is a key component in self-compassion. And the question that Tara Brach poses to people is this: can I be with this, or can I let this be? Is this just some silly thing that I can let go of and it's fine? Or can I just accept the fact that this is the reality of the moment, that there is stress inside me, that my body's feeling pretty uptight? Can I just accept that that's what's going on? Because this was the piece we were talking about before about distractions. So many people can't accept that. Well, the cool thing is that when you do, these emotional responses, they will pass so much quicker. Right? You can spend weeks sitting on something, or you can spend 10, 15 minutes sitting with something, and it's the sitting with, it's the processing, it's the acknowledgement and the acceptance that really starts the movement, the shift. Once I've acknowledged and accepted, I can then investigate what's caused this. What triggered that response earlier in that conversation that I had with my partner, or with my family, or that stressful situation I had at work? What was that bringing up for me? What does that remind me of? Okay. And then the final piece, the N, so we've got recognize, acknowledge, investigate, and then the N is nurture. What does that vulnerable part of me need? Yeah. Maybe it needs some self-reassurance. I'm okay. I'm safe. Everything's fine. Right? I'm looking after all parts of me. Remember, we're not just one. Okay. Whilst we have the I of the ego, we're made up of many parts of ourselves. Lots of these parts are very, very young. They need our love. Okay, fundamentally, we all need to be heard. We all need to be seen. We all need to feel loved. Okay, that process, that practice is allowing ourselves, giving ourselves permission to be heard, to be seen, and to be loved. So I think I think that is a practice in terms of the importance of meditation. It's for that. It's for your ability to step away from the busyness and the distraction of the world, and to spend more time getting to know yourself.